Greetings of the day. Today I am going to discuss the last chapter in the first block, a beautiful anecdote by Sudha Murthy. The title of the anecdote is Horegallu. Sudha Murthy is a very famous Indo-Anglian writer. Before the beginning of the anecdote, I would like to give you a very brief introduction. When we think about our past, we often do have certain regrets. As far as students of your age are concerned, you may not have very serious regrets. Most of your regrets are very simple, silly regrets. For example, I could have scored more marks in my exams. I could have worked a little harder. I could have behaved in a better way to my parents, teachers, and fellow students. But for the grown ups, they have serious regrets about their past. The only silver lining amidst all these regrets is the solace which flows towards them from their old childhood memories. You can take all these regrets in a philosophical way. As certain people say, don't regret our past, rather embrace it, for past is a great teacher. It teaches us a lot of lessons. You can learn from your past. You can learn from your mistakes. In the anecdote, Horegallu, Sudha Murthy also speaks about some of her old childhood memories, beautiful old childhood memories. At the beginning of the anecdote, she says, hot summer days remind me of my childhood days in the village. She lived in a village and she had beautiful memories about her childhood in that village. She says, there was a huge banyan tree in the middle of the village, and she used to play a lot under that banyan tree during her childhood days. The banyan tree looked like a massive umbrella which provided shade and succor. The travelers, the villagers, and the agricultural laborers who worked in the fields, they would come to the shade of this massive banyan tree. They would sit under the banyan tree, they would take rest, they would talk to the other people around them, and they would be refreshed and they would resume their journey. To make them more comfortable, there was a Horegallu under the shade of this tree. The literal meaning of the word Horegallu is a stone that can bear weight. Actually, it looks like a flat horizontal stone which is placed upon two vertical ones. So the travelers, they would stop the journey by the side of this tree. They would sit on this stone bench on this Horegallu, take rest, would speak to the fellow travelers, would share the news of the road, and they would continue their journey refreshed. By the side of the Horegallu, cold water would be stored in earthen pots, and these travelers could quench their thirst by drinking this cold water from these earthen pots. You studied the word quench in your first year English text, especially when we discussed the block beyond the horizon. Quench the thirst for knowledge. Travel helps a person to quench the thirst for knowledge. So, quench means to satisfy. So, here the travelers could quench their thirst by drinking water from these earthen pots. So, they would feel refreshed and they would resume the journey. In the next paragraph, she says she holds good memories about this Horegallu because it is inextricably linked with her grandfather. The word used in the text is inextricably. Inextricably means inseparably, which cannot be separated. That means whenever she thinks about her grandfather, the memories of the Horegallu come to her mind. Whenever she thinks about the Horegallu, the memories of her grandfather come to her mind. They are inextricably linked. Her grandfather was a retired school teacher. He would spend a lot of time under the shade of this tree talking to the villagers, travelers, and the people who work in the fields. They came to the side, they shared all their problems. They shared the problems related to their daily life, their work, the problems in the family, etc. Even though he did not give any solution to any of these people, to any of their problems, but by just talking to this man, this learned person, they were able to unburden their loads, or they were able to unload their burdens, and they were able to resume the journey refreshed. They also spoke about some of their problems in the family. They had that complaint. Most of the children did not help them, did not support them, did not help them carry their burdens because their sons all wanted to go to the cities. Probably because they did not find enough job opportunities in the village. Probably because the cities attract youngsters, especially those youngsters in the village are attracted by the cities. They are attracted by the fast and furious nature of cities. They are attracted by the energy and entertainment offered by cities, excitement offered by the cities. So the youngsters in the village often want to go to the cities, whereas people who live in the cities, they wish to have a beautiful life, a peaceful life in the villages. Most of the poets glorify the beauty of nature, the beauty of rustic experience, the beauty of a village life in many of their poems. Just listen to these beautiful lines from the Holy Bible. There's a book called Song of Solomon in the Old Testament. In chapter 7, the lines go like this: Come, my beloved, let us go forth into the fields and lodge in the villages. Let us go out early into the vineyards and see whether the vines have budded, whether the grape blossoms have opened, and the pomegranates are in bloom. There I will give you my love. Usually we associate love, romance, peace, everything to village life. These lines are from the Bible, but you can find these lines in a beautiful film in Malayalam. The title of that film is Namukku Parkan Mundirittoppukal. by the legendary filmmaker Padmarajan. These lines uttered by Solomon in the film, or that particular scene, can be considered as one of the most beautiful proposal scenes in Malayalam movies. So people usually wish to have a peaceful life in the village, calm and quiet life in the village. Here, the youngsters in the village, they all wish to lead a life in the cities. And this complaint was raised by most of the villages. They spoke this particular issue to the grandfather. So they shared all their problems and they left the place re energized. When they began to leave the place, they blessed the Horegallu. And Sudhamurti was surprised to see it. After all, it was just a stone bench. Then her grandfather gave her the answer, gave her the answer to her query, to her question. He said, "Child, we need a Horegallu in every journey. A Horegallu is essential in every journey because each and every one of us will have our own problems, our own difficulties, our own miseries according to our own situations and capacities." He said to his grandchild, "We all carry our own burdens according to our situations and capacities. Each and everyone has to take a break, stop by the side of a Horegallu, take rest, and continue the journey rejuvenated or re energized. Continue the journey with full vigor." So, here the grandfather spoke about the importance of Horegallu in the lives of each and everyone. We have already come across the literal meaning of the expression Horegallu. Now we realize that Horegallu has some symbolic significance. For convenience, I divide this chapter, this anecdote, into two parts. And I have discussed the first part, and in the next session, I would like to discuss the symbolic significance of Horegallus in the lives of people. That's all for the day. Thank you.